Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. I'm sorry I'm a couple minutes late tonight, y'all, but whew, a lot of bills, a lot of bills. We're gonna get started in just a minute. Why would my phone ring, y'all? This broadcast. Lord help us. Let's make sure that this is. I'm sorry, y'all. What happens when you are LIVE, right? Life happens. So today is, of course, Thursday, January the 11th, and we are keeping up with Congress. We're keeping up with Congress, y'all. They're keeping us on our toes. We have a lot of bills tonight, so we're going to dive in. Again, please please hit the subscribe button, notifications, y'all. Make sure you know when I'm coming on with keeping up with Congress, and please share, y'all. If you haven't been to the website, please go to the website, join, support. We have Cash App, y'all. You can send us a little something. We got a lot going on. Hey, family over in Illinois. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome, welcome. So again, I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, and we're holding our elected officials accountable. We're looking for opportunities in legislation, y'all. Where is the money? Where's the money? Because this is all about the money, y'all. Who is it going to? How do we get some of it, y'all? Please please share. Let's dive into the bills. But before we do, I'm always looking at reparations legislation. It's in my blood, y'all. So I was scrolling the internet today, and what role can cities play in reparations? Some aim to find out. So if you missed my Saturday broadcast this past week, we had Minnesota on, and this is an article about Minnesota, y'all. This is the St. Paul area. We had Treverne Cruz, who's an activist in the area. Let me make my screen a little bit larger, y'all, so you can really see this article. Yeah, good job. Yep, there you go. So Trahern was our guest on our broadcast this past week on Saturday. He came on with Yaharu, and we had a robust conversation about reparations and what's going on in the state of Minnesota. So over here in St. Paul, it says on January the 3rd, January the 13th, St. Paul City Council unanimously voted to create a reparations commission, y'all. Hey, Don, good evening. A reparations commission over in St. Paul. It goes on to talk about Minnesota at large, and the Twin Cities in particular are home to some of the greatest racial wealth gaps in the country. In the Twin City metro area, the annual median income for white households in the metro area is $83,827 compared to $36,047 for Black households, y'all. That's a huge gap in income, y'all. Just a huge gap. But we know it. We as Black people, or those of us who are descendants of slaves in this country, we know it. They act like they don't know it, but we know it, right? These disparities exist today in St. Paul. These disparities exist today in St. Paul for the same reason they exist in cities all over the country. Redlining, which denied Black residents the chance to purchase homes and build wealth. Racial covenants and property deeds designed to keep white neighborhoods white. And the construction of freeways through thriving Black communities. In St. Paul, it was I-94 through the Rondo neighborhood in the late 1950s and early 1960s, an act in which St. Paul's new resolution explicitly apologizes for. We don't want no apology. Cut the damn check. Cut the check. Pay us what you owe us. Pay them what you owe them over in St. Paul. You apologize. Okay, thank you. We appreciate the apology. Now fix it. So yes, we got to pay attention, y'all. Reparations is happening all across the country. It goes on to say reparations as a mechanism that can be used to address the many ways that African Americans have been oppressed beyond just slavery, but ultimately that deciding which wrongs they want to address will be something that every city interested in providing reparations will have to decide for themselves. Yep, we'll take it. Reparations, we all know, is federal. This is a bigger initiative. We need the federal government to rectify this, to fix this, reckon with this. But guess what? We're going to take it from everywhere it comes, right? Thank you, St. Paul. All righty, let me close this screen and let me close this. All right, reparations, y'all. Sheila Jackson Lee is in the news. Slavery has never been properly addressed. Reparations bill reintroduced to Congress. Yep, we sitting on pins and needles. We are ready. Goes on to talk about, but way back then, before the seemingly endless warp, they was talking about Donald Trump, y'all. Warp that was the year 2020. The nation was still run by Donald Trump and the Republican enablers who were all about making America great again by maintaining its traditional roots of being a land of the white people, by the white people, and for the white people. So back then, HR 40, back when Donald Trump was our president, HR 40 was pretty much dead before it was even seriously considered. But now that there's a new administration running the White House and a political shift in congressional control, the bill's 2019 sponsor, Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat from Texas, has reintroduced the legislation ahead of a new hearing on reparations. Y'all, it's a hearing next week. Mark your calendars. Save the date. I'm going to share that with you in just a minute. It goes on to talk about a woman named Dresden Heath, an official with the Human Rights Watch, who is scheduled to testify at the reparations hearing set for next week, according to the Post, said that promises to end white supremacy and end systemic racism and provide racial healing ring deeply hollow if the federal government is not taking steps to advance reparations for slavery, other forms of state-sponsored violence against Black people, and ongoing racial discrimination created by public policy. Yes, yes. Next week, y'all, all eyes on Congress. And this in the article goes on to say, I wouldn't hold my breath. We can always hope and keep the pressure up in an effort to make America great for the first time. So this is this article. They don't, he ain't gonna hold his breath. Well, guess what? We're gonna keep the pressure on, y'all. She says, hey, that's right, Cynthia. Slavery, Jim Crow, and mass incarceration. Contact your congressman to have Dr. Darity testify as an expert at the HR 40 hearings. Yep, on 2/17/21. Yes, y'all, please contact them. We got to get the right people being heard in these spaces, in these places, because it's some foolishness if not. Goes on here, some more House panel to hold another hearing on reparations, y'all. Just kind of summed it up. So it says a U.S. House subcommittee, a little tongue-tied there, will host another hearing on a proposal to study compensation for America's history of slavery and racial discrimination. The hearing is scheduled February the 17th. It's part of a second attempt by U.S. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee, Democrat of Texas, to get a commission funded that would examine how reparations for African Americans, here we go, y'all, this is a little too encompassing, African Americans, no, we need that to say descendants of slavery in America, would work, and how descendants of enslaved people, look, exactly, and that shows you they're talking about African Americans and descendants of enslaved people. Nope, just descendants of enslaved people from here in America will be compensated for decades of trauma. Goes on to talk about NCOBRA, National Coalition of Blacks for Reparations in America. It said there is more momentum this time to establish the commission and finally debate the need for reparations. Democrats hold a slim majority in the U.S. Senate, and it's not clear that even some moderate Democrats would endorse the creation of a reparations commission. They better, and that's what this is all about, holding them accountable, keeping we're gonna keep the pressure on, y'all. We are not playing. They better. 2022 is right around the corner. They better support it. So here, if you have not marked your calendars, please do. Go to the congress.gov. You can get a reminder and get an alert, but it is on the calendar for 10 a.m. on the 17th, Wednesday the 17th at 10 o'clock, y'all. Make sure everybody is in the place. It's virtual, right? We can all show up and share. All right. Facebook, y'all, launches a new platform to highlight the work of Black creators and a new guide for businesses. I thought that was quite interesting what Facebook was doing. Okay. Facebook has launched a new platform to highlight the work of Black creators and a new guide to help businesses show their support for the Black community. Okay, Facebook, thank you. We appreciate you. It was there's a guide, the guide, I took a look at it, y'all. Here it is. One of the pages, it talks about in 2020, 41% of Black-owned businesses in the US were forced to shut down permanently as a result of COVID-19. 41%. That's almost half, y'all, of our Black businesses were forced to shut down in this COVID season. We are hurting. We are hurting something awful. All right, let's dive into these bills, y'all. Congress is like 900 bills in the House, and probably like 300 and some odd bills over in the Senate. So we got a lot of catching up to do. So that's why I call this keeping up with Congress, because we got a lot of keeping up and catching up to do. They running hard, they running fast, but they're not going to outrun us, right? So let's dive in. HR 561, to direct the administrator of the Small Business Administration to issue rules or guidance on the ability of borrowers to use economic injury disaster loan proceeds for covered worker protection expenditures. Democrat Lou out of California, y'all, using these COVID funds for, whatever needs to be done for worker protection. What is that? PPEs, protective equipment, whatever that is, whatever they need to be able to spend the money at will. So HR 561, everybody. HR 562 is to amend the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 to require public companies to provide sexual harassment claim disclosures in certain reports, and to require public companies to implement mandatory sexual harassment training. Again, Representative Lou Democrat out of California. Oh, I wanted to look up the Securities Exchange Act just so we would know exactly what they were, who they are, and what they do. So the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, SEA, was created to govern security transactions on the secondary market, which is the stock market, after issue, ensuring greater financial transparency and accuracy and less fraud or manipulation. The Securities Act of 1934. HR 563 is to amend the Public Health Service Act to prohibit the Secretary of Health and Human Services from conducting or supporting any research involving human fetal tissue that is obtained pursuant to an induced abortion. I told you, y'all, it is a lot of abortion legislation, a lot of it. HR 563. HR 564 is to provide paid family and medical leave to federal employees. And I thought this was interesting because I'm sure they have some sort of paid family and medical leave. You would think, right? So Representative Maloney, Democrat out of New York, federal employees, I would like to know more. Like I said, I will be in Congress asking a whole lot of dang on questions. HR 564. HR 565 is to require the Interagency Task Force on Human Algal Blooms and Hypoxia to develop a plan for reducing, mitigating, and controlling harmful algal blooms and hypoxia in South Florida. Y'all, I told you I take special interest in food, air, water, and land, right? I'm like, what is harmful algal blooms and hypoxia? I did look that up too. Hypoxia occurs when algae, this is so scientific, y'all. I'm not into a whole lot of science, but I do want to understand. Hypoxia occurs when algae and other organisms die from lack of oxygen and available nutrients. Hypoxia events often follow algal blooms. The cyanobacteria, algae, and phytoplankton, I do remember some of this from science, sink to the seafloor and are decomposed by bacteria, and the lack of oxygen creates dead zones in which most aquatic species cannot survive. So yes, like I said, I take special interest in food, air, water, and land. So I thought this was interesting, and I figured we'd look it up. Representative Mast, Republican out of Florida, y'all. HR 566 is a bill to to amend Section 105A of the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act to authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award a grant, y'all, here's some money, to a nonprofit entity for a national child abuse hotline. Y'all, this is actually introduced by Representative Lucy McBath, right here out of Georgia. So she wants to see there be a grant to a nonprofit entity for a national child abuse hotline. Now, see, I always wonder when these entity singular. So do you already know who this nonprofit entity is? And you're just putting the legislation in place? This is where I ask questions, y'all. Entity, not entities with an S, where it's, you know, inclusive of other nonprofits. A nonprofit entity, that sounds like one. This is how we have to watch our legislators. Who gave you some money and you owed us back? You know, those are the questions I ask. Awarding a grant to a nonprofit entity, one, for a national child abuse hotline. Interesting. Representative Lucy McBath, right out of Georgia, y'all. HR 567, to establish an interagency program to assist countries in North and West Africa to improve immediate and long-term capabilities to counter terrorist threats. Now, I found this one interesting too. This is Representative McCall, Republican out of Texas. You know, taking special interest in North and West Africa as it relates to terrorist threats. Interesting. Republicans taking interest in North and West Africa. The things that make you go, Okay. Is there some land over there you want? What do you want, Republican, that's taking interest in North and West Africa? Yeah. HR 567, y'all. HR 568, another abortion bill to amend the Public Health Service Act to prohibit research with human fetal tissue obtained pursuant to an abortion. Lots of it, y'all. It's just lots of it. HR 569 to amend the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act to withdraw the Outer Continental Shelf in the Mid-Atlantic Planning Area for disposition. And I'm like, okay, Democrat McEachin out of Virginia. This was a bill we've already seen over in the Senate with this this Outer Continental Shelf lands. Remember, I wanted to know where are these lands? It's on the coast. And then I looked up the word disposition. Like, what do you really mean? And it could mean two things: the way in which something is placed or arranged. So are you talking about moving it? You can't move it. Or are you talking about the boundaries when you talk about disposition? Or you can come down and we could say, in trust and estate law, a disposition is the transfer, gift, or sale of property from one individual to another. So what are you really saying here, Democrat? And look, I'm saying that specifically, Democrat Representative McEachin out of Virginia. Yeah, special interests. I see you, Cynthia. You're right. A lot of this stuff is special interest. You're right. They owe it back. The hands that fed them. How you got in office is who you owe when you get there. HR 570 to require operators of offshore oil and gas facilities to report failures of critical systems to the Secretary of Interior. So are they not reporting these failures? What are they doing? Representative Eachin, Democrat out of Virginia. Why aren't they reporting these failures to these critical systems? Oversight. HR 570. HR 571 to improve United States consideration of and strategic support for programs, programs to prevent and respond to gender-based violence, beginning with the onset of humanitarian emergencies, to build the capacity of humanitarian assistance to address the immediate and long-term challenges resulting from such violence. And when I see programs, I understand. Sometimes I think about these Republicans and they keep talking about how You know, all these programs. Democrats, yeah, there's a lot of programs. Representative Ming, Democrat out of New York, HR 571. HR 572 to establish the National Office of New Americans. Y'all, who the hell are the New Americans? Can somebody in the thread, in the chat, who are these New Americans? The National Office of New Americans. We got some New Americans, y'all. We got to pay attention, y'all. We got to keep up with Congress. What is this? HR 572. Immigration? Is this some sort of, you know, spinoff to immigration? Who are these New Americans? Representative Ming, Democrat, New York. Okay. To establish the National Office of New Americans within the executive office of the president. Y'all pay attention, and we better keep up with Congress, y'all. HR 572. Oh, I skipped one. HR 573. Did I skip a few? Yeah, I did. I'm sorry. I got ahead of myself. Let me go back. HR 573 to amend the Child Abuse Prevention, to amend the Child Abuse Prevention and Treatment Act to ensure that child protective service systems do not permit the separation of children from parents on the basis of poverty. Yeah, just because you are poor doesn't mean, you know, that child protective services should take away your children. Representative Moore, Gwen Moore, Wisconsin, HR 573. HR 574 to require the Secretary of the Treasury to conduct outreach to inform certain individuals of their potential eligibility for the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit. So who are these certain individuals that we have to inform them? Who conduct outreach to inform certain individuals? Who are these certain individuals? Representative Moore, Wisconsin. Who are these certain individuals? HR 574, everybody. HR 575 to establish a more uniform, transparent, and modern process to authorize the construction, connection, operation, and maintenance of international border crossing facilities for the import and export of oil and natural gas and the transmission of electricity. So you're concerned about oil, natural gas, and electricity at these international border crossing facilities, and really not the people. Or is it really the people, and this is your way of getting something done? See, I have questions, y'all. HR 575, Representative Mullen out of Oklahoma. Okay. HR 576 to amend the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 to require states to accept applications to register to vote in elections for federal office in the state from individuals under 18 years of age at the time of application. So if you're under 18 years of age and you want the states to be able to accept the applications, and what you're supposed to do, just hold on to them? That sounds like some additional work. You know, and they talk about voter suppression, but don't make the laws, you know, so complicated. So they should hold on to these. I don't know. Representative Nejus, Democrat, Colorado, y'all. HR 576. HR 577 to provide for the designation of certain wilderness areas, recreation management areas, and conservation areas in the state of Colorado. And I'm thinking, why is this federal legislation and not state legislation? So you want to create federal, it's going to be federal lands. You want the federal. I have questions, Representative Nejus, Colorado. Why is your state not doing this? Why are you making this federal legislation? HR 577. HR 578 to promote registered apprenticeships, including registered apprenticeships within in-demand industry sectors through the support of workforce intermediaries and for other purposes. So yeah, I'm all about apprenticeships and these in-demand industry sectors. This sounds like some jobs, some opportunities. Yeah, spread the word. Representative Norcross, Democrat from New Jersey. HR 579 to require the Secretary of Energy to establish a pilot competitive grant program, we'll go some more programs, for the development of a skilled energy workforce, jobs and opportunities. Yep, Representative Norcross, Democrat from New Jersey, HR 579. HR 580 to direct the Secretary of Labor to support the development of pre-apprenticeship programs in the building and construction trades that serve underrepresented populations, including individuals from low income and rural census tracts. Yep, Representative Norcross. He's creating some jobs and some opportunities, y'all. Make sure it trickles down to those of us who are descendants of slaves in this country and people that really need these opportunities. HR 580. We're almost at the half hour, everybody. We just got to keep up with Congress, y'all. We few more to go. To amend Title 19 of the Social Security Act and Public Health Service Act to improve the reporting of abortion data. Here we go again, abortions, y'all. HR 581. HR 582, we saw this one last night, to authorize the use of the rotunda of the Capitol for a memorial service in honor of United States Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick for his courage and sacrifice at the United States Capitol on January the 6th. So I was asking, like, why is this a bill and not a resolution? Is it because it's money's involved, or is this something that they want to see? I don't know. Why is this a bill? HR 582, Representative Norman, Republican out of South Carolina. HR 583 to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to provide for a credit for zero emission buses. Representative Panett, Democrat out of California. That's California. I can see because they, we're all about clean air, clean energy. HR 583, y'all. HR 584 to ensure that veterans receive timely and effective emergency treatment during the COVID-19 emergency. God, they treating our veterans bad. There's a lot of bills. We've seen a lot of bills with veterans too, just like abortions. We've seen veterans. HR 584. Receive timely and effective emergency treatment. HR 584, Representative Pappas, Democrat out of New Hampshire. HR 585, to direct the Secretary of Labor to provide for data collection and dissemination of information regarding programs under the National Apprenticeship System. Representative Pappas again, Democrat out of New Hampshire. HR 586, to amend the Public Health Service Act to provide best practices on student suicide awareness and prevention training and condition state education agencies, local education agencies, and tribal educational agencies receiving funds under Section 520A of such act to establish and implement a school-based student suicide awareness and prevention training policy. Representative Scott Peters, Democrat out of California. Yeah, y'all young people, y'all, we got to make sure we can see the signs early. HR 586. HR 587 to modify permitting requirements with respect to the discharge of any pollutant from the Point Loma wastewater treatment plant in certain circumstances. So I wanted to look this up. Where's this? It's California, correct? Yep. Yeah, I just wanted to see where it was. There's some pictures. Yeah. Like I said, I take special interest in food, water, air, and land. Everything else we can work it out, but we have to get this right. HR 588 to direct the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants, here's some money, y'all, to states, political subdivisions of states, Indian tribes and tribal organizations, community-based entities, and primary care and behavioral health organizations to address behavioral health needs caused by the public health emergency declared with respect to COVID-19. Some COVID money for those of you who work in behavioral health. There's some grant money coming. Representative Porter Democrat out of California. Grant monies, everybody. Looking for opportunities. HR 588. HR 589 to amend the Help America Vote Act of 2002 to prohibit the use of voting systems in elections for federal office whose hardware and software components are not manufactured and maintained in the United States or which are produced by foreign entities. Yeah, I do believe some of those parts we have to be mindful. We have to be mindful. So I can, Representative Posey, Republican out of Florida, I ain't mad at you. Some of this hardware and software components that are manufactured and maintained outside of this country. Oh yeah, I get it. Help America Vote Act of 2002, HR 589. I actually had a tripod one time that came with this thing that would connect to my phone. I didn't use that part of it because I'm like, I don't know, if I connect this to my phone, do I give you access to my phone and my contacts and my data? Nope. Got to be mindful. HR 589. HR 590, y'all, we're at the half hour to amend the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 to provide a tax credit for certain expenses of moving manufacturing equipment from China to the United States. So it's bringing them back to the U.S. They're gonna get a tax credit if they will, move from China back to the U.S. Representative Posey, Republican out of Florida. I ain't mad at him. So again, I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, y'all. We are keeping up with Congress. We are on track. Like I said, there are probably about 900 bills on the House side, little over 300 some bills on the Senate side. We're keeping up, y'all. We're keeping up. We're going to pay attention. We're not going to just go to the polls anymore and give these votes away for free. That pimp game is over. We're going to pay attention. We're going to hold our elected officials accountable. Again, I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Thank you for joining me tonight. I'll be back with you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7:00 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Don't miss it, y'all. Let's continue to keep up with Congress. Spread the word, y'all. Like, subscribe, hit that notification button, and share. This is how we hold them accountable. This is how we stay abreast. Nobody's playing in 2022. We're going to have receipts in these political streets. See y'all on Monday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Make sure you tune in on Saturday because we're going to have a great debate on that Saturday broadcast. I ran alongside Richard Winfield in the race to the United States Senate, and he did not support reparations, y'all. So I got Be the Power coming on. I got Angela Nirvana coming on, and they're gonna hash it out. But he need to understand that reparations is here, reparations is now, reparations is due. So make sure you join us, y'all, on Saturday. I will see you here. We're keeping up with Congress on Monday, but see you Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you, Rhonda. Have a good week, everybody. Thank you, Cynthia.